My name is Lara. In 6 months' time, I am going to attempt to be the first person with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome to walk the London Marathon. EDS is a multi-systemic, genetic connective tissue condition. It is complex and confusing, with 6 types that we know of. The type I have, hypermobility EDS, is actually not that rare. It's just massively mis- and underdiagnosed, and I want to change that. From the age of 11 onwards, life has been pretty tough, and I spent most of my secondary school either on crutches or on a plaster cast.
The day that Lara was diagnosed, we were really upset for Lara, but she was on cloud 9 because she was so happy to think that she wasn't going mad, that she actually physically had something wrong with her, that it wasn't a mental thing that she was imagining. And she could now say, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This is why I'm like I am and why I feel how I feel.
Who's this? This is Ripley. This is my best friend. Yeah?
Yeah.
I missed you today. EDS is hard to understand, as the people who have the condition sit on a vast spectrum of symptoms and capabilities. There are some who are quite simply a bit bendy, and they get on with life with few issues. Then there are the majority who are like me. They have multiple problems, with sometimes life-affecting symptoms, but can usually live a full life. Then there are those, and they are rare, that can become very disabled from the pain and complications that EDS can bring.
They're disorders of certain proteins in the body called the connective tissue matrix proteins. These are the proteins that are responsible for giving strength to the body, and it forms the basis of ligaments and bone and tendon and muscle and skin, so that they all rely on collagen for their strength. The problem with these conditions like EDS is that the protein molecule is altered by virtue of this genetic defect or mutation, whatever you like to call it, and it weakens it. So what used to be rigid, tough, strong becomes stretchy, more fragile.
There are those who, on paper, have the same type as me, but they are bedbound or in a wheelchair.
The sort of list of symptoms add up very differently. Mine is pain, somebody else's might be something else, you know what I mean? But I think also the invisibleness is what, until I ended up in this, that was my hardest thing, with how much inside stuff was going on that nobody could see.
My blood doesn't clot, my internal organs are affected, my bowel doesn't work.
There are some who are even on TPN, which is when you are fed from a tube into your heart because of complete gastro-failure.
I've had trouble eating for years. I would just feel full really easily, and I'll get a lot of pain and feel really sick when I hadn't, eaten much at all.
From January last year, I was in hospital, in and out. In about 60 days, I spent 26 days in hospital, and they didn't know why. I just couldn't, everything was being rejected.
We need to know more. I want to know how we are the same, but completely different.
It's an invisible illness because you look fine, but you can't see what it's doing to your insides.
It was about 7 years before I got diagnosed with EDS.
It's a very common disorder. Admittedly, nobody knows about it, or very few people seem to know about it, yet.
There are rarer types of EDS, and one of them is the vascular type, which is life-limiting. I am doing the marathon in memory of Joanna Court, who died of an aneurysm at just 19 years old whilst at university. Pam and Brian Strudwick's story is heartbreaking. They lost both their daughter and then just 6 months later their grandson to vascular EDS.
I went upstairs into the bedroom and I noticed that in the ensuite Deborah was lying face down in the doorway. You know, I'd checked her to see if it was possible that she could be resuscitated, but she was clearly no longer with us. It was incredible that less than 12 hours before that she had been out, she was full of life. Despite everything, we knew that Deborah wouldn't make sort of old bones, but in no way did we expect to lose her at 49.
Just like that.
And I suppose in those circumstances we gradually, and it's taken a long time and it will never be sort of complete, we've accepted the situation that it is. But clearly losing Alexander at the age of 20 is a totally different situation, and we'll never ever get over that. He suffered a heart attack and he was gone within seconds. Both circumstances sudden and totally unexpected.
I met Annabelle Griffin and Ted Rizzo when their families approached EDS UK after being told the devastating news that they had been diagnosed with vascular EDS.
When we went in the room, you know, it was a matter of minutes before they delivered the news, and at that point I couldn't compute what was going on because I was in shutdown. You know, vascular, what is that? That must be the worst type. So I instantly burst into tears and said how long she got to live.
Year after year there seemed to be a knock or fall or bump and whatever, and even being on holiday at times we had to rush off to A&E and he tripped and fell and bumped his face and they'd stitched that, and so everything just seemed to feel there's something not quite right. Because he was being treated for his club foot, his talipes, that the orthotist that we were under, we were talking to him about how he'd have so many falls and trips and everything else, and he mentioned to us, have you heard of Ehlers-Danlos? And of course we hadn't.
My mum, her grandma, she's very close to, and she took quite a few months before it hit her, and it was only when Annabelle was actually in the car singing Disney songs that it hit me mum, because that was one of the dreams when she was born. We've got our princess, we can go off to Disney, Florida and do all that like we'd done with the boys, but obviously we can't do that now because she can't fly.
We came home and quickly Googled Ehlers-Danlos, and looking at all the types, quite quickly we saw that
Clubfoot.
Under one of them, Clubfoot was mentioned.
Which was the worst type to have, the vascular type. And I think from then we always knew he'd got that.
Vascular EDS is a cruel, silent and invisible killer.
We never ever realised and appreciated the seriousness of the condition and how this could have virtually happened at any time.
It does feel like, you know, for me, she's on loan to us at any time. She can be taken away.
There is nothing I can do for Joanna and the Strudwick family now, or all the other families who have lost people from this condition. But I hope and pray that we can do something for Annabelle and Ted, and everyone else whose lives are touched and cut short by vascular EDS. It is all of these families that I will have in my mind throughout the 26.2 miles.
I work at The Practice, which is an integrated physiotherapy and Pilates practice in Notting Hill, West London. When Lara approached me and said, I'm going to be doing a marathon this year. Would you be interested in being involved? I thought it sounded like a really exciting challenge. The practice is donating all the treatment that we're providing Lara. We feel it's a really worthwhile cause, and we really want to get behind Lara as much as possible to push her message of what is EDS, what is hypermobility, and what can be done about it. The work that Lara and I will be doing over the next 5 and a bit months will be exceptionally crucial. I think if you look at the management of hypermobility and EDS, irregardless of whether there's a marathon at the end of it or not, often physiotherapy really does play one of the key roles through combinations of improving posture, improving proprioception and body awareness, helping with pain, very much helping with building muscular strength, and also building up cardiovascular fitness. All of those things can really completely change a hypermobile individual's life.
I got my first sponsorship this morning for the marathon, which is very exciting. It's actually from a good friend. She has just donated £500, so an excellent way to kick off the sponsorship page.
I don't think anybody can give you a complete answer as to whether you'll be able to do it or not. There's just so many variables involved. We know people with Ehlers-Danlos and other people with other connective tissue disorders like Marfan's. We know that in some circumstances the mitral valve, and to a much lesser extent the aortic valve, can suddenly fail. Now, the problem in your good self is that the reinforcing mesh is of an unknown quality. And we know that for you that molecule, those collagen molecules, are not as strong. The mitral valve has to cater for a very big load, because when the heart contracts, the valve closes and there's a very big pressure gradient across it, and it pushes the blood forward. So it's under a lot of mechanical load. There is a small chance under extreme load that could fail, and it could fail in a very unpredictable way. Although the chances of that event occurring are very, very small,
it's there.
If it were to happen, it would be catastrophic.
What we're going to do today is called an echocardiogram, or a cardiac ultrasound, and the idea is to look at Lara's valve in particular with Ehlers-Danlos, and seeing if there's any elongation of the valves or if there's any widening of the main artery. So it's just a structural assessment of the heart, which we do on a regular basis for Lara. In cases like Lara, where we've been looking after her for quite a long time, we will do the scan, compare them year on year, or every 2 years, depending on if we see any change. And because we know she does have a bit of prolapse, we keep a very close eye on that. And there we can see just the slightest of leaks on the mitral valve there.
One of the things we're going to be wanting to do is build up your fitness, build up your heart-lung fitness, as well as build up your muscle strength, as well as build up your flexibility, all concurrently. And if we can be building up your fitness on various machines while your strength is building up, that's going to make it a lot easier for you then to be able to walk the full marathon.
So we're about 3.5 miles in to a 5-mile walk, and it's been amazing. At about, I don't really know what mileage, but at about 57, 58 minutes, the pain started in my right leg and hip, and then about 10 minutes later hit to my left leg. So I'm in really bad pain at the moment, which has kind of stressed me out a bit, because I know that I've got 26.2 miles to walk, and if this pain gets worse, it's pretty bad. It would make me stop. So that's a little bit depressing. Every time I bend my leg and push weight through it, it feels like I've been stabbed in the side of the knee, and it's going all the way up to my hip. So it's very, very painful. I might have to stop for a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I imagine that a lot of the marathon will be like this limping and this pain. I don't know how I could walk this far without, I don't know. On Sunday I did my first 5-mile walk, that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And I was in agony. I mean,
Were you?
it instantly...
Where were you in agony then?
So it kind of hits in always first the right leg.
Yeah.
And it's like the outside joint of the knee, and it almost feels like the very tip of my calf bone right in there, like I'm being stabbed every time I put weight on it, and I can't really bend it. Probably about half an hour later, then that pain goes to the left leg as well, but
Yeah.
it doesn't go up to the hip with that, it just stays in the knee. So I can almost feel like the bones rubbing together.
Well, these are exactly the issues. And you've done 5 miles, you found that difficult. So how's the training going for the marathon?
If I would have done that 3 months ago, that would have happened at 2 miles. So, you know, it's getting better. My muscles are getting stronger. I'm finding it very frustrating because I'm taking protein shakes before and after the gym. I'm training 6 days a week, and it is taking so long to build muscle. And I know that's because of the EDS.
Part of the problem is if you can't control your joints as well. If you're doing a long exercise, I mean, you've managed 5 miles. But the 5 miles and 24 miles are a little bit different. What happens as you get more tired, your muscles become weaker. You will lose control of the joints. The joints will get more abnormal movement, and in theory, the joints will hurt, and you can damage your joints. So. You should listen to your body if it really becomes very, very painful.
It's just so hard to know because I'm in pain so much. What's the pain to listen to stop? Do you know what I mean? Like that pain on Sunday when I did 5 miles, I think most people would have probably gone to casualty with that pain.
On a day-to-day basis, Lara can wake up. One morning she can be bright and rosy, and then another day she'll wake up and you can see she physically cannot get out of bed. And I look at her and I think, you're 31 years old, and she was diagnosed when she was 23, but it's steadily, you can see her pain is worse than it was when she was younger.
We now know that pain amplification, winding up of the volume of pain that is received at the brain, is a common feature.
116 pulse, sitting down. This is great.
All the joint pains that they may have had for some years gradually get more severe and intense. So they're in pain all the time, and particularly when they move. So that if movement becomes painful, people will instinctively avoid movement. So that is a major disabling disorder.
Here we go again.
7 miles.
7.11.
7.11 miles.
Oh shit, do I need to get the route?
No, I think I know. Well, we'll need to get it soon.
They also get a kind of whole body pain, what we call a chronic pain type. It's really in the 20s and beyond that this chronic pain descends. And if it's not picked up and treated, then people can lead a very restricted life and invalid life.
Life at the moment is pretty hard because I'm stuck here, and I've been stuck here bedbound for a few years now. I used to be as slim as you a few years ago. Being bedbound and not being able to move. I've never been this big before ever, and you know, I've got no self-confidence left at all. The little self-confidence that you have anyway, that you try and keep, you know, with having such a nightmare condition, and then it's just been stripped completely away by putting all this weight on and feeling horrible about myself.
I have seen many patients who have had severe consequences of chronic pain, and it's caused them to self-harm even when they're adolescents and children, and to entertain suicidal ideas as well in rare cases. So it's not to be ignored, and it's not to be neglected. There's a large collection of photographs on Google of Michael Jackson. I did come across a number of them that showed beyond any doubt that he was hypermobile. I assume, or I conclude from that, that he suffered the chronic pain of hypermobility syndrome or Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And in the end, it was the treatment of the pain or the mistreatment of the pain, I'm not sure, that cost him his life.
Oh dear, we're having a little emergency.
Yeah.
We're having a nosebleed. Baby, can I do anything? You're dripping on your beautiful white coat. What you need to do is hold the bridge of your nose and look up a little bit, like, okay, can I help?
A little bit concerned.
Right. Is that, what would you, right, okay, yeah, there's a lot of blood. Have you got any more tissues? Maybe we should go into the hotel.
Dizzy, and I don't know what's wrong. I want to walk like a normal person without hemorrhaging on the side of the road for absolutely no reason after a week of really bad pain in my head. Now I'm scared. Okay, I've got pins and needles in my face. We should go. Stop.
We know also about the autonomic nervous system. That's the part of the nervous system that controls things that we don't normally think about or control, like the blood pressure and the pulse and all these mechanisms that one takes for granted because they normally look after themselves. In autonomic dysfunction, they don't automatically look after themselves, and you get problems of dizziness and faintness and fainting and all sorts of things that can happen and need treatment.
High blood loss. Can't see you. Do you need sugar? Do you need sugar?
She needs salt.
Salt. I think you should stop it on you. I am being beaten and I'm in bed after attempting to do 8 miles after having a week off, and it's really completely destroyed me. I kind of feel like I've been beaten up. Funny, very hard to breathe. I feel sick and my upper body is killing me from the gym yesterday. And now my legs and feet, and it's like I can feel every bone in my body and everything hurts so much. I'm in so much pain. Today is really one of those days where I think, am I going to walk 26.2 miles?
Now, the internal organs require a certain amount of strength as well. And one of the most important areas is the gastrointestinal tract, from swallowing from the gullet right down to the rectum. Collagen is involved in the working of the bowel, in the peristaltic movements that convey the contents right from one end to the other during the digestive process. And we now know that this is a major source of problems for people because it does upset their bowel function.
If I ate or drank anything, it would just like sit in my stomach. My stomach doesn't empty. And so I don't get the nutrition and it just sits there basically, so I can't get the nutrients. About 8 years ago, I started being tube fed into my stomach, and that worked for a while. But then I got more of the symptoms of pain and nausea, and I could have like less and less of the tube feed. And that led in the end to me needing TPN. I get nutrition through a line in my chest that goes into my heart.
I used to live by eating little and often, but my esophagus would stop and I'd be sick. And at one point they said I needed investigating by another specialist, so they sent me to Southampton. Southampton thought it was psychological, tried to put me in a rehab sort of house, but we heard that there was a link between hypermobility and gut problems, and I got diagnosed by my local hospital with hypermobility syndrome. So, and the guy to see was Professor Graham. He diagnosed me with Ehlers-Danlos hypermobility type.
There's a very common condition called irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, which is one of the most common conditions in medicine. There have been all sorts of theories as to what causes it, but none of them have really rung true. But recent research in London has shown that hypermobility, which is one of the signs of EDS, accounts for about 50% of people with IBS. So it has all sorts of ramifications.
How you feeling? What's your heart rate?
We shut the window.
What's your heart rate?
About 120. But we're all good.
Oh, that's not bad.
We got everything. Amazing. Let's go.
I'm not allowed to tense my hand or hold anything because of my spasm in my neck, and the most amount of pressure I've got to put through my fingers is as if I'm carrying a crisp that can't break. Onwards. I must be honest, it's far harder than I ever thought possible. It's more grueling, it's more hard on my body. I kind of naively thought, walking, how hard can it be? But
Can I just ask you a question?
It's really hard. Yes.
You've been advised by probably every doctor that you've seen in recent months for your various conditions not to do this.
Yeah.
Why are you still doing it?
No one's actually told me, don't do it. My ideal outcome is to complete the marathon under 8 miles without doing any...
8 hours.
8 hours, what did I say?
Miles.
8 hours. Without doing any long-lasting damage.
What's long-lasting damage other than you dying?
Well, it'd be nice to cross the line without me dying.
Okay.
That's
But
one
can I just stop? Because that's quite a grave thing that you just said, with like a really big fat smile on your face. It would be nice to cross the line without dying. No, but...
Well, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know. We need to keep walking. My cardiologist didn't say you could die. I mean, he didn't. He could. I could because...
What didn't? I wouldn't go to a cardiologist and then say to me, you might.
Well, that's the worst case scenario.
By saying that means that it's therefore a risk.
I think that what he said was that that's worst case scenario. Worst
That's
case...
a massive scenario to be facing.
To put yourself
No, like people don't start the marathon with the worst case scenario of dying. Their worst case scenario is that their nipples might bleed.
Imagine you doing all this training for 9 months and then waking up on the morning of the marathon and you're having a bad day. What are you going to do then?
You'll be devastated. You know, I've thought about that. I've thought about the fact that I might have funny, wake up, might not be able to use my leg properly. So many different things that could happen and do happen on a sporadic daily basis that could easily stop me. So we're about 6 miles in to 10 miles, and we're over halfway. I mean, I'm feeling it now. My leg's going. My heart's not too bad. I'm not really feeling that symptomatic. Feeling a bit tired. But generally, this has been my best walk yet.
What pain are you feeling?
My right knee, every time I put pressure on it,
It's like the most stabbing pain ever. Going through it, shooting up to my hip, and down to my knee. My left ankle's really hurting now. My shoulder blades are hurting. My arms feel like they weigh about 3 stone each. And that's probably the worst. The rest is all quite bearable.
What about your heart?
My heart's not bad.
Where are you at?
I'm 120 at the moment, but I just stopped, so. But yeah, like I said, this is a good walk. This is so awesome. Big Ben was just chiming. I've walked nearly 10 miles for the first time in my nearly 31 years of life. And that's awesome.
Morning. It's 8:15, and unfortunately my shoulder's dislocated in the night. I just woke up and I can't feel my left arm. I've got really bad pins and needles, and I think I've put it back, but I don't know if I have because it's absolutely killing me. And it's a really sharp stabbing pain on my shoulder blade, and obviously I was just asleep, so I didn't even really do anything. It's really painful. Oh God, this is quite common with EDS. Shoulder blades go a lot. Oh God, they're so painful. Oh.
I'm sure I visited the surgery when Lara was younger a lot more often than other mothers with children of Lara's age, and it just always felt that there was nothing wrong, but yet Lara was saying that there was something wrong, and it kind of, it's that boundary where you think, well, who's right? Is the doctor right, or is my child right? So in the end, I started to also believe that maybe she is attention-seeking.
When my parents took me to the doctors, they thought it was an eating disorder. And so I was referred to the eating disorder specialists. And they tried to give me therapy, and they tried to scare me into eating and all sorts, and it just didn't work. They gave me meal plans. They didn't really know how to help me. So in the end, they put me in like eating disorders units.
Why is EDS so commonly overlooked? One reason is that students in medical schools are not taught about it because their teachers were never taught about it, and there's no one to tell them about it. So they often go through medical school with a very patchy, hazy knowledge about this whole subject.
It's the unknown, and it's the fact that no medics out there, no doctors can tell us any answers to any of our questions. And actually we're learning more through talking to people who are suffering through vascular EDS and EDS than any medic can tell us, because there's just not the knowledge there at the moment about vascular type.
Now, as I said before, I just feel very sad that I also tended to say, oh, get on with it, you know, there's nothing wrong, and this is why Lara is so passionate about what she's doing now.
So, just got home from the hospital, and see, I've got a sling on. I'm getting so scared about time. I've got like 7 weeks to the marathon, and every day my body is getting worse. I just have to find a way to make it through. I have to. It's just no choice.
There's a lot of argument and controversy about whether the hypermobility type is the same as what other people refer to as joint hypermobility syndrome, and the general view these days is that it's identical. There's also discussion about whether it's just one condition or just a number of conditions, and we don't have a handle on that yet because we don't know the genetic cause. But as I said, there is work progressing on this.
We've done 10 miles and we've now stopped because Lara's got a pain in her... where?
It's in my heart, going down my left arm and up into my neck. So I always promised I'd stop and listen to my heart, which is what I'm doing. And I've been having...
her heart's been dropping a lot.
I've been having palpitations, but real drops, like... I'll feel it because I'll check and it will be on like 57, 58, which I've never had a pulse that low in my life. And then it's like, oh, and it's gone to 123 in like that. So I'm having real bad like SVTs almost. Maybe that's what they're called, I don't know. I don't know, SVT maybe does that, I don't know. Whatever, palpitations. But I've got real like, you know, that heart pain in your hand and wrist and arm. And...
No, people don't know that pain.
Oh. Unfortunately, I know that pain. So, my leg's killing me. With every Sunday, I'm getting more and more petrified. I'm never going to make this marathon.
Oh, we're very far from home.
I'm training for the marathon.
Best of luck.
And to you with your circuit. It's healthy body go. Bastard.
Sweet that you made sweet running conversation. I love marathon? Nope. You? I'm training, look at me stroll.
We've got apparently 2 miles to go. I can't even communicate the pain of it.
Well, you need to, that's the whole point.
My legs.
Don't describe the pain, describe how you actually feel about the pain. Like, don't describe the physical, well, like, not like the physical, like, it feels like shooting or whatever, but actually, like, how mentally it's making you feel.
Scared. Pissed off, frustrated, angry, annoyed, jealous. How am I going to do it, dude? This is less than 14 miles and I'm crippled.
Oh, she's coming. Oh.
Dude, I hate you for living on the top.
Oh, it's warm.
I told you it would be warm. Oh, God. Oh. 137.
How are you feeling?
I don't want her to not do it, I just want her to maybe mentally prepare herself for something different. Not for her to say, okay, I won't do it, but just to be like, you know what, just me getting to that starting line and doing all the training, and even if I do 10, 15, 18 miles, like, oh my God, like, look what I've done. And if she can take that attitude, then go for it, like, fly, like, do everything you can to do as many miles as you can. But she's not thinking that, all she can see is a finishing line. And it's really bad, like when she walks, the last walk we did at like 12 miles, I mean, her knees were like bucking underneath her. And she's like, every step she took, it was like someone's shooting her in the kneecap. and then her left leg goes, and she's like holding her hip, and then she has to put so much pressure on her right leg that then that starts going, and she's holding onto walls, and she can't walk in a straight line, and she's like veering off, and like my shoulder's like keeping her on track, and it's like you're just halfway through the marathon, and she can't see that, and she's so proud of herself for doing, you know, 14 miles in 6 hours or whatever, 5 hours, and like she should be, but that's still not enough to get her to the end to even get a medal.
Yeah, not feeling great. I have had a bit of a cold and a sore throat for about 3-4 days, and it's kind of gradually gone down to my chest, and now I've got like the lung ache and hard to breathe, and I can feel stuff.
I think it's a brilliant idea that we go to a club stroke bar this evening. I think it's brilliant. Genius, Lara.
It's my birthday.
And the 12-hour walk. Are we going to spend it in hospital tomorrow?
I've got a 20-mile walk tomorrow.
It's not going to happen.
I can never understand it because it's totally the opposite to way normal people deal with illness. So if I was ill, I'd go home and sleep. And I have previously, when I've had my birthday, I've gone home and I've just cancelled it entirely, and I've done it another day. And to see her so ill, and you can see it in her face and you can hear it. It's just incredibly sad. And I think the only way you get your frustration out is by my way. It is frustration. So it's hard. I think it's hard for her to take because she thinks it's okay to tell people that she's ill, but not let them help her in any way. And that's it's frustration and it's anger, but it all comes from love and care.
Such a high pain threshold and a high tolerance to being ill and being in pain that sometimes when I get test results or I'll see a scan showing a tendon in half or something, and I'm like, wow, how did I walk around like that? Like, how did I actually go out last night when I feel this bad? Like, I don't know if you can hear, because I can feel it, but like when I'm talking it's so raw and like dry and sore, and like, I don't know, I must look quite different to yesterday, but it's just so quick that it's like goes from me being able to put up a fight to me just completely being beaten by it. I guess some people who aren't ill every day of their lives, all day long, it's just short spurts. So when someone gets really ill, it's easy for them to switch off and go to bed and relax. If I had that mentality, I'd be in bed every day relaxing and sleeping. So at what point, you know, do I give in? It's the way I've chosen to deal with it. I'd like to think that most of the time I don't ask too much of my friends from it. Maybe they worry, and that's something I can't control. But, you know, if I went to bed every time I was in pain, I'd be bedbound. If I went to bed every time I was weak and tired, I'd never get up. It's hard to imagine that in 20 days I'll be on the starting line of a marathon when I look like Darth Vader right now. But there's time.
She has a physical problem. Like, her body is not made like my body. Her bones aren't made like my bones. Doesn't matter how much I want my knee to do something, if it can't do it, it can't do it. You know, I haven't got bolts and pig's guts holding things together. She does. I haven't got a floppy valve in my heart. She does. Like, it's beyond the power that she's got. And she's getting worse at trying to control that.
Everyone knows why she wants to do it so much, because it's such an amazing thing to do, but I think sometimes she loses sight that she has got a major illness, and it could you know, lead to other things. So she needs to chill out a bit. Gemma's right, but she'll do it, I think.
I think if she does it, she probably will complete it. Whether I
Yeah,
think
she
she
gets
should
there.
do it is a completely different thing.
Si?
Is it worth making yourself really ill for?
I'll be alright.
What? Be alright the first 10 miles, Lara?
I don't know, I hate to say like you're not, because I know we all know how much you want to do it, so I think we should just say yes, you will.
Answer me this. Is there anyone in this room that's actually sponsored me yet?
No.
So this is day 1 after being discharged from hospital yesterday, and I'm not allowed to do a long walk until Saturday, but they've recommended I do little spurts. So considering I've been a bad mummy to Ripley, I thought it'd be a good chance to take her for a walk and see how I fare after a lap around the park. So, I mean, I can already feel that my chest isn't right, but equally it's much better. So. We'll see how I go. This one's happy to be out. We've walked maybe, what, 200 paces, and I've already got the pain in my right knee. So it just shows how out of sorts my body is. I would like to think that people actually had faith that I would finish it. I know that everyone has faith in my ambition and my determination. But I know when I look into everyone's eyes, doctors, family, friends, I don't think there's anyone that actually thinks that I'm going to cross that finish line under 8 hours, or even at all.
I don't think you're physically strong enough to finish it. Honestly, realistically.
If I did finish it, and I finished it, but then I got really ill, would you be angry with me?
No, I wouldn't be. Why would I be angry with you?
Because that I shouldn't have finished it. Do you know what I mean?
I'd be angry because you don't listen anyway.
Most people with EDS who run into trouble can trace it back to what I loosely call unaccustomed physical exercise. And there's nothing more unaccustomed than walking or running the marathon. So, I don't want to put you off, but I am concerned. I know it's well-intentioned, motivated, and very much to your credit, as I would expect of you. But on the other hand, it's dangerous. Having a high pain threshold isn't always a good thing, because pain is a protective mechanism. It tells you when things are in danger, or something's not right, and it's a signal. And if you adjust the signal so that you don't actually feel the pain, it doesn't stop the damage.
The things that I've felt through training and the things that I deal with on most days are kind of pains in my neck and back. I get a real sense of having very heavy arms. I almost want to kind of hang them in pockets or something, and often I stick them in my top because the weight of my arms is pulling and hurting. I don't know if it's the cold air or talking in the cold, but my face and jaw seize up almost, and it's really hard to even smile. After most walks I'm putting my jaw back in place and clicking that. I obviously have the autonomic problems that I'm dealing with. I had a bad nosebleed on one of the walks. I've had chest pains going down into my left arm and down my neck. And then obviously we moved down and I've got the pain in my right hip that goes down into my right knee. I have a stabbing on the outside of the knee and then a bone rubbing on the inside from where the leg rotates. I've had my right ankle operated on twice, so that clicks and dislocates quite a lot whilst I'm walking. And then a week ago, getting this bad chest infection.
Yes, yes.
So
from which you're only just
recovering from.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess I I stupidly have a daily battle with EDS and I don't like it winning.
I think my role is to inform you of the risks that you're taking and of the possible outcomes that might result. And it's looking at it, it's not looking very good.
Tend machine, all wired up to my back. Terminator leg brace on. And this is about as close to what I'm wearing as I've worn in my training walks so far. But on the day, this will all be printed with the charity stuff. And that's it. We go. This is my first walk since coming out of hospital. And I'm excited and I feel great. And I'm actually, for the first time, I just feel really positive, really excited. I'm not worried. Whatever I can do, I can do. And I've done so much training, I think it's just that and the adrenaline is just going to see me through on the day. You know? That and my ability to block out pain to what I hope will be a sensible level and not a level that will hurt me in the future.
Lara's got the ability to have a really positive attitude about absolutely everything. It's just that her body lets her down and she pushes herself to such extremes that she makes herself really sick. But her birthday was a prime example of that. I'm really nervous and I'm really worried. And I you know, this is why I've always maintained that she's the most inspirational person that I know, because she's so positive and excited and you can genuinely feel her excitement. It's amazing. I've never seen her like this, as excited about anything. But realistically, I'm really petrified.
So hopefully this will be just the right brace for you. Hopefully we've got the judgment right between something that's too light and not supportive and the full-on functional brace that you've already got for the right leg.
Yeah.
So from here it's just good luck and let me know how it goes.
I will do. I will do. Hopefully you'll get a call or a text on Monday saying I completed it on my time. But thank you so much, because it's really made a difference. Like, really, I think it could be the difference of me being able to finish it and not. So that I'm so grateful for that. I don't really know how to
That'd be
put
great.
that into
It's
words.
nice to see the braces used for
Yeah,
for that
amazing,
purpose.
amazing. And I've got you guys on my vest.
Oh, thank you.
Your logos.
Right.
I'm like, thank God so many people have helped me, but I've got all these different logos, the physios and the shoes, and it's brilliant. Very lucky, very, very lucky. So thank you very much.
When we first started talking about it, it seemed ages away, miles off. Now it's actually come to a head. I can't believe that she's doing it, but because of her strong will and her determination, I realise she's got there. She's there. She's focused. How I feel about it is I'm just overwhelmed with how passionate she is about doing it, but I also worry about how she'll be afterwards. But I can't think about that. She's worked out, she's built muscle up that she didn't have before, and she's just been amazing. She's blown me away. I mean, I don't know how she does it, because the pain that she is in every day when she wakes up, you know, I hear, oh, this hurts, oh, that hurts. I do try and keep strong. I do just try and not show my emotions, but on Sunday I will, definitely, because to do what she's doing is just amazing, absolutely amazing.
I want you to be careful. I don't want you to overdo it. I want you to aim for 10, 15 miles and then do as much as you can, because I want you tonight to come to the after party with all your family and friends. I don't want you to raise awareness by being in hospital and me sitting at the bedside next to you. It's all about taking part today, not about winning or medals. But I've made my own medal for you, right? And it's about, as I said, the taking part. But we want, because we're so proud of you, I've made our own medal. On the front it says London Marathon 2011, and on the back it says winner for raising awareness for EDS. Right, and you need to wear that with pride. Right, and you leave that on.
Thank you so much.
I hope everything goes well, and that particularly today, that you don't have issues with your tissues. Yeah? Pleasure. Good luck.
Thank you.
I cannot believe that this all started, this journey started really 6 months ago, nearly, and we're here.
Last minute thoughts? This is it.
I love you all. Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck.
Have a good
one. If I lose you, then you get taken off. Thank you. The braces are doing good. Braces feel good. I feel good. My heart's great.
Do this one on your right leg. You can hold to me. Yep. Put the knee a little bit closer.
I'm really excited to see everyone in a few miles' time.
We're having so much fun! How are you feeling? You look brilliant! Awesome! It's lovely! You're doing better than so many people!
I love you so much! Yes! Yes, I beat it! Oh my god, wow, I was having a lull and that put me up. 15K!
This is why I say Lara sets her mind on something. She does it. She was going to be here by hook or by crook, no matter what anyone said to her. But she might just finish it, you know? I'm feeling really good.
Should we walk with her for a bit?
You're the best with EDS! Guys, I'll see you at the next bit.
How's she doing? Remarkably well. Yeah, so she's keeping a very, very good pace. She's sort of gone out nice and steady, and she's stuck to that pace.
Everyone around me is really pushing me ahead. And just don't know what to say, best day of my life.
A little bit dizzy. Ibuprofen with it. Can we grab a chocky bar out of it?
Oh, I know what I need, my pills.
Yeah.
That's why, my pills. Ben Austin from Don Joy, I love you. You have really made this marathon possible. I just can't believe how much these braces have changed how I walk and the pain. Unbelievable.
She just makes the most of things every day. She makes you feel grateful to have your health every day. It's so grounding to have that kind of presence and force in your life. I've never known anyone to live for the moment as much as she does, ever.
Doesn't seem that way, but maybe it's a perfect day. Even though the bills are piling, and maybe Lady Luck ain't smiling. See the blessings in disguise, that all the rain clouds are fountains, though our troubles seem like mountains. There's gold in them hills, there's gold in them hills, so don't lose heart. Give the day a chance.
I'll see you all in a pub. I'll meet you there.
I did it. I walked 26.2 miles in 8 hours and 18 minutes. It was without doubt the best day of my life. But I shouldn't have done it. My legs took months to recover. I also had to go to A&E the morning after the marathon, as my foot was in so much pain. I felt it go around the 13th mile, and Emma had to tape it up. But even I was surprised when I found out that I had a stress fracture, and I'd walked on it for 13 miles. I was in a cast for 6 weeks. It's amazing what adrenaline can do. EDS is hard. It's frustrating and painful. It sometimes feels like it could take your life away. And the vascular type does. Sometimes it seems easier to not have good days, because then it makes it so much harder for the people around you to understand and sometimes believe the bad days. I guess what I wanted to do with this documentary was to make those with EDS, or any chronic condition, realise you can have your good days. Don't be scared to push your boundaries of pain. But don't do a marathon. Make your own finish line. Create your own challenge. And have as many good days as you can.